Hey, it's Andrew from the Pop Wood Shop. We've been using some laminate in the shop recently, and there are just a few things you should know when you're using it in your shop. First, you want to make sure your laminate is cut to an appropriate size. In this case, I tried to leave it slightly oversized, about a 1/4 inch overhang all the way around the edge of my piece. That's so when you go back to trim it with your router bit is only cutting on one edge and you can get a nice clean trim. The second thing is we're going to be using spray adhesive to attach our laminate to our substrate. Now when you're working with spray adhesive, you want to make sure you pay special attention to the edges and then get a nice even coverage on your piece. Finally, a few dowels will really help make sure you get your laminate in the best position possible. Because it is oversized, you have a little bit of wiggle room when you're laying it down, and I find it's easiest to line it up from one edge, remove a dowel, and then press down, and you'll get to the other edge, and things will be right where they should be. With all that said, let's give it a try. So you can see here I've covered my workbench top with some paper. I am using spray adhesive, and I don't want to accidentally adhere something to my bench that I don't want to be adhered to my bench. I'm also going to throw on some gloves here because the spray adhesive can be tacky and it's no fun when it gets on your skin. So I'm just doing a small piece here, but if you're trying to do a larger piece with spray adhesive, you may have to stop and shake your can again in the middle or partway through to make sure you're getting a good even stream. Now with the spray adhesive, again, you want to pay special attention to the edges of both your substrate and your laminate, and then work on getting a nice even coat across the rest of it. You can see here I've also butted the laminate up against the MDF, and that way when I'm spraying here, I'm covering both sides evenly. Now, with most spray adhesives, they say to wait a minute or so until the adhesive becomes tacky, and that'll help it bond better when you put the two pieces together. So it's been about a minute, and a good check is to see if it's still sticking to your fingers. And there's just a little bit of adhesion there. So I think we're ready to start putting the laminate on. So I'm going to lay out my dowels. And I'll take my laminate and work on getting it in the right position. So here I'm just sort of feeling with my fingers to get it positioned thusly. And I'll remove this first one and get it positioned right about there. So far so good. Move that next one, and I'm just pressing it down with my hands here and to the end. Got a little close over there, but I think it'll still be fine. Then I'm going to come back with my laminate roller. Now this is just a hard rubber wheel on a roller, and I want to roll out the laminate, paying special attention to the edges and making sure I press everything together smoothly. So I'll start from the back end here, move that forward just a little bit so it's supported. And I'm using two hands to get plenty of pressure on it. And I'm using overlapping strokes here. And then I'll move that back just a hair. I want to make sure I cover the whole thing. And then when I'm at the edges, I want to pay special attention to make sure I don't bend over too much here, so I'm getting most of the pressure on the inside of the roller. And you don't have to worry about rolling too much. Now finally, a good check to see how well everything worked out is to give it some taps. And anywhere it sounds hollow, I think that might actually be the bench. If you can hear any hollow spots, you might want to go back over that with your roller. But this feels pretty good. So once your laminate is firmly attached to your substrate, you can come back and trim it flush with a flush trim bit in your router. Now you can see here that the bit has a bearing at the top, and that bearing will ride along the edge of your MDF, and then the blade just trims your laminate right up close to the edge there. Now, because you're just trimming a 1/16 of an inch, you don't really have to have a lot of the blade exposed. You want to make sure that your bearing is riding on the edge of your MDF and you have just enough space there to trim off the laminate. So the bearing at the top of the bit is just slightly wider than the cutting blades, and that'll leave just a hair overhang that you can come back and sand or file if you need to. We're going to be cutting counterclockwise with the bit, so I'll start on one edge and come all the way around. I'm going to go slowly, pay real close attention when I get to the corners to make sure we've got a nice crisp corner. And as always, make sure you wear hearing protection and eye protection because this will be tossing up a little bit of dust. Yeah, that feels really, really good. So there you have it. If you haven't considered using laminate in your shop recently, you should give it another look. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more tips and tricks.